going to introduce Nate Epstein. I don't have a background for you, sorry Nate. But he is running for the Orange County Assessor. So everyone, please welcome Nate Epstein.
Hi everyone, my name is Nathaniel Fernandez Epstein and I'm running for Orange County Assessor. So let me first tell you about my name because a lot of people get questions about, ask me about it. So the Fernandez comes from my mom, she's Filipino, and my father's side I have Jewish heritage. So I grew up in the San Fernando Valley. I went to school at UCLA, and before, go Bruins. And after working for a few years, I moved down to Orange County to go to law school at Whittier Law School in Costa Mesa. So during my time in law school, I volunteered at the Share Ourselves Clinic in Costa Mesa, which provides low-cost legal services to people who can't afford it. And I started off my legal career working at an estate planning office. So during my time working at an estate planning office, I transferred over 500 properties all throughout Orange County and throughout the state of California. And it's because of that I got the unique experience of working with the assessor's office. So how many of you are actually familiar with what the assessor's office does? We got a couple. So let me ask you a different way. How many of you are familiar with Proposition 13? So let's make the connection. Proposition 13 is what the assessor's office deals with. So some of the organizations I'm involved with is I'm on the board of directors of the Los Alamitos Youth Center. I'm on the board of directors of the Filipino American Chamber of Commerce of Orange County. And I'm also the treasurer for the Filipino American Democratic Caucus for the state of California. So what does the assessor's office do? The assessor is responsible for valuing all the taxable property in the county. And let me tell you a little bit about my race. So I'm the only Democrat, I'm the endorsed Democrat by the party. I'm running against two Republicans, the incumbent and one of his employees. So how am I going to beat him? So one of the campaign promises that Claude Parrish has made, and I know he's going to say he accomplished it, is that he's going to allow you to take all taxable exemptions that you're allowed to take without bureaucratic delay. So he's basically saying, I'm letting you do what you're allowed to do, and I'm going to take credit for it. So I don't know what kind of campaign, I guess that's a low threshold campaign promise, but I guess that's good. But let me explain to you one of the situations that I dealt with in my practice. So I was an estate planning attorney, now I'm a trust litigation and probate litigation attorney. And so one of the things that happens a lot is we have a parent-to-child transfer. Is anyone familiar with the Proposition 58, parent-to-child exclusion transfer? Okay, so the Prop 58 transfer, basically you can transfer your property from yourself to your child or your children, and they're going to keep the same property tax basis that you have. So that's huge. And so the thing is Claude Parrish promised that he's not going to have bureaucratic delay, but on all the forms you fill out, it's a 2-page form, and from dealing with people in my practice who transfer property through a trust, there's a box you check that says, hey, if this is a transfer through a trust, make sure to check this box and send the property in, or send the copy of the trust in. But a lot of people don't see that. And so what happens, if you don't send the correct information to the assessor's office, they're going to assess you. So think of people who owned homes in Orange County for a while. I've talked to some people who bought houses maybe 30 years ago, and their property, they bought it for $80,000, which is incredible. And now it's worth $800,000. So imagine the tax hit that their children would take on the transfer. So that's what, maybe $1,000 to $8,000? And they're gonna say, pay this, or we're gonna penalize you. So go ahead and pay it, and then we'll refund you later. So imagine the tax hit you get having to pay that if you're living on a fixed income, or if it's going to your children who have kids in college, where are they going to make up that money? And it takes 3 to 6 months to refund it. So you're out that money, and you may not even get it back, especially because you may not know that you have the right to appeal it. And so that's one of the biggest problems in the assessor's office, because people aren't getting their refunds. And so I want to bring transparency, I want to bring fairness, and I want to make it easier for people who filled in most of the information. On that form, you say who the person was and who their children are. And that's the biggest part of the information, because you're transferring from parent to child. So I want to make sure that things like that, they don't get delayed. That we go, okay, we got to change the culture from reassess right away to we have some information, let's keep it where it's at, let's help people stay in their homes, and let's get the information from them afterwards. And that's a way we can make sure that people aren't paying and they're not giving money to the county. You're basically loaning the money to the county, and you might get it back. So I don't know about you guys, but I don't appreciate that, and a lot of my clients didn't appreciate that, and I bet you guys don't appreciate that either. So that's one of the biggest things that we have to do. And I want to make sure that we make the office accessible to people. We want to make it accessible to everyone, because if we're not doing our job helping the people in the county, then what are we really doing? So those are some of the things that I'm involved with and why I'm running for the assessor's office. If there's any questions, you could go ahead and ask me, but I also wanted to ask you guys a favor. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Duke Wynn and Brett Murdoch. So we've been caravanning all throughout the county together as the county, and Mary Navarro, and we've been going down to each one of these clubs and talking to you. And I know the focus right now is on the congressional races. But I want you to think about what the county levels and city council, like we were talking about, how the impact they have on the community. Once these people are, we're in the 45th district, is that where we're at? So whoever ends up being the nominee and who ends up winning, they're going to be in Washington. They're going to be dealing with it. But what about back home? What about the Board of Supervisors? What about the homelessness issues? The people in Congress are going to be busy working on federal level issues, but we need people back here to take care of Orange County back at home. So that's why you got to vote all the way down the ticket, because we need to get the right people on the Board of Supervisors. We need to get the right people at the county. I'm a little biased, of course. I'm going to talk about it and tell you to vote for me, but we need to get Duke in there, because Duke is going to protect you, and then Brett Murdoch is going to be there to prosecute. So we want to make sure that we have a unique opportunity right now to get Democrats in office in Orange County. So let's finish the job. Let's get the congressionals elected. Let's get the countywide elected. And let's get city council, board of supervisors. Let's get everyone involved, because it's not a blue wave if only one or two of us get in. Let's get all of us into office. So everyone, thank you very much. Any questions?
Is this a top two, or is this it, or what's the status on the June 5th?
So for the assessor's office, it's 50% plus one. So two things. We want to make sure either I get 50% plus one, or we want to make sure the incumbent doesn't get 50% plus one, and I'm number two. And let's just finish it in June. I don't want to keep going. Let's get it started. I want to prepare for the office. So let's go in June. Yeah.
Hi. You were talking mostly about property assessment for personal property. What about commercial property? Because I think Mimi Walters will have those people. Do you assess the commercial properties?
Yes. So I'll elaborate on that. So one of the things that I'm for is a split tax roll. Is everyone familiar with a split tax roll? Okay. So right now everyone is assessed at about in Orange County it's a little over 1%. That's the average. So are businesses. So a split tax roll keeps the lower tax rate for residential purposes, and then they raise the tax rate for corporate, with businesses over 50 employees or so. And so why is that important? So right now people talk about how businesses, they don't transfer ownership, so they're never reassessed. And some of the preliminary numbers that we've seen in studies is that if we raise the tax rate on corporate businesses, big businesses, we could generate $6 to $10 billion for the state, which go out to schools, which go to local government, which go to unions, which go to libraries, everything in the community that needs money. And I wish Mary Navarro was here, because I know she'd be excited about that, because we get more money in the schools, and that's really important. So I am definitely for a split tax roll. It was going to come on the ballot in 2018, but as of last week, they moved it to 2020. So that's something that we can take time. But we have to make sure we get it right, because we have to balance. We have to make sure businesses stay in California. We don't want to just raise the tax rate and then they leave. So I'm actually happy that maybe we're taking the time to do it right, because it's been around since the 70s. It's not just going to happen overnight. It's something that we really got to discuss and make sure we do it the right way.
What was your major at UCLA?
I was a philosophy major. And then also, if you guys are fans of UCLA football, which I am, You could see me on the sidelines during football season because I'm on the chain gang. I don't know if you. It's I measure this. I have the sticks and measure it. So yeah, it's assessment of the plate. So yeah, you might see me. I'm actually there this Saturday because it's a spring game, but. You'll see me in football season. After I win in June, I'll have some time to go to the games on Saturday. That's a good question. Yeah.
Is it true that businesses are leaving Orange County, or do you think that's an inaccurate statement?
I mean, it really depends. I mean, one of the things that, we made this big deal about the Amazon bids to come here, and we didn't get it. And so they said that LA got it, and I mean, realistically, from some of the things I've seen is that they're not going to come to California because of the costs and the employment costs. So that goes back to Prop 13, making sure that we want the businesses to stay here and come here, and make it easier for them to do business here, but also make sure they're paying their fair share of taxes, because they got to support the communities that they're in as well. No more UCLA football questions. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for having me. If you guys can donate, if you can walk, if you volunteer, I would greatly appreciate. All the county candidates would appreciate it, because we're all in this together. We're, like I said, we're caravanning from club to club, spreading our message. So at the least, if you guys could just tell your friends and family who are going to vote Democrat, Republican, Nathaniel Fernandez, Epstein for Orange County Assessor. Thank you very much. If you want to go to my website, it's epstein4oc.com. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.